I'd like to invite my friend Narek Verdanyan, as again is the CEO and the founder of the crowdfunding formula. Narek, all the way today you're in Armenia. Welcome.
Yes. Hey
Good.
guys, thanks for having me.
Fantastic. Are you able to share the screen?
Yeah.
Awesome. So anyone who has any questions, again, you can put them in the chat, and Clive will take all the questions, will be answered at the end. I guess that's it. Eric, welcome, and looking forward to your presentation.
Yeah. Thanks, Epi. Great insights on the crowdsourcing. Very informative. A lot of the insights on crowdsourcing and crowdfunding. We're gonna cover today another angle of crowdfunding that is, I believe, not that much analyzed so far. So we're gonna speak about why pretty much corporations, big companies, companies which have billions of dollars of valuations, why basically they're using crowdfunding, and what is the driving source that is driving this movement, these companies to use crowdfunding, and what you yourself and your company, how you can benefit from those opportunities and use crowdfunding on your behalf. So today we're gonna speak about corporations, but not only. We're gonna cover also some marketing aspects, like who we are and what we do, how pretty much startups and everybody, how they are succeeding in crowdfunding, what kind of marketing insights are there, what strategies, etc. And we'll open up a floor for questions. So we're gonna make this very practical, very informative. So take notes and prepare all your questions. Okay, so I'm co-founder of the company called the Crowdfunding Formula. We are also known as TCF. We are actually the biggest company in terms of team in crowdfunding. So we have a very large team of about 100 plus people, which allows us to dedicate some 15 to 17 people on each of the campaigns that we're doing. And this allows us to scale all our campaigns and raise really big amounts of money. So we have also created in the past years a big ecosystem in the field. So it's not only the agency, we have created software companies, we have created media companies. So we have big audiences of early adopters, of bakers. We have influencer marketing platforms. We have created a lot of automations tools, which are helping all the crowdfunders to automate their stuff, spend their time on the quality aspects. We are advisor on Sprint Crowdfunders Fund. So if you guys have great ideas, and for some reason, for very obvious reasons, you don't have enough marketing budgets, and you definitely need a marketing budget to raise significant amounts of money. So this fund is giving you kind of credit type of money in a very quick period of time. So it's in 5 minutes, you can get a marketing budget and scale all your campaign. We have this cross-prom, which you can use for cross-promotional activities. So in crowdfunding, it's pretty much popular when you're finding some complementary product in there. You can send cross-promotional requests, and you basically can share each other, and it will be win-win for both parties. Like if you have a cup and somebody has tea or coffee, you can share their product to your audience, and they can share your product to their audiences, and you guys will benefit from that. We have this Millennium 5, which is a video creation agency. We have Steven Tilden, which is a fun network of early adopters, and we have Jungle Proof. We're going to speak about Jungle Proof. This is a market testing methods and platform, and how you can pretty much validate your ideas. Like if you guys have great ideas and you think they are great, and your friends are thinking they're great, it doesn't really mean that they are great still. You have to validate those ideas, and we're going to speak about it later on in this presentation, right? Which is the proven method for testing and understanding whether there is a potential for your ideas, and how much to price those products. So those two questions are, I think, a pretty big deal for every startup and even big companies. Okay, so yeah, we have a little, allow me a little bragging in here. We have a lot of $1 million campaigns. We have done, you know, many successful campaigns. Mostly they are raising more than millions, sometimes more than 1 million, like one of our, this is one of our last campaigns, and we raised $5 million altogether on Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and on BakerKit for the UV mask campaign. So on average, we're raising like $1.4 million per campaign, and we're pretty much in this domain, and we're going to show all the secrets as much as the time allows us on what we are doing, how we are doing, and we don't have any kind of secret, so you can ask us absolutely everything. So I know you are pretty much familiar with crowdfunding, and Epi also covers some of the stuff, but just to, you know, cover from the basics for those who are hearing this term like first time. So crowdfunding is not a new thing. It was there for some time, and even such famous structures such as Eiffel Tower, Statue of Liberty, Sagrada Familia, they were in reality financed by crowdfunding. And some guys had these cool ideas, and the crowd, the population gathered some money which financed the implementation of all these cool ideas. But with time, with the platforms, with the emergence of internet, of course things changed, and new platforms came to life, like Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and some other platforms. But in the reward-based crowdfunding, but the most popular ones are those platforms, and they started to become a kind of an ultimate place for innovators. And a lot of innovative products that we're using currently, in reality, have been introduced for the first time in crowdfunding spaces. Like, for example, the Oculus Rift, the famous VR glasses, was a crowdfunding campaign. They raised $2 million in 2012, and then 2 years later, Facebook bought this company for $2 billion. So amazing growth. Then Pebble introduced pretty much the smartwatch to the world, and now if you guys are using smartwatches, so the father of smartwatches, I believe, were these Pebble guys, and they introduced the concept. Unfortunately, like a lot of big sharks entered into the market, and they were not able to bear the competition and had to force to move out. Then affordable e-bikes, again, have been possible with the crowdfunding. So before Saunders, e-bikes have been costing like, you know, tens of thousands of dollars. And then it turned out that there is some technology that can be used, and you can just get an e-bike with under $1,000. So with all this said, crowdfunding is not only about tech. It's not only about, you know, smart and breakthrough engineering. Very, very simple things, as long as they are solving some specific problems, can also succeed in crowdfunding. So this is my favorite example. This was one of our first clients when we just have been starting. And this guy had 4 kids. Mike had 4 kids, and he just noticed that when his wife was changing the diapers of his kids, the kids have been putting their hands into some places where they shouldn't be, right? So he invented this kind of, invention, which was preventing kids to put their hands in the places where they shouldn't be. And you see a kid is smiling. This probably is the simplest invention that can be out there, right? But nevertheless, it raised like $120,000. It became pretty popular. They created pretty significant brand out of this. Now they are expanding. During the campaign, they have been invited to many shows, many TV shows, and have been showing how their invention works. It was both funny and also it became a like very real business. So you can see a lot of these type of products as well in crowdfunding. So the range is very, very wide. If you can solve like a specific problem, there is a space, there's an audience that can help you succeed with your company, with your products. Okay, now let's kind of analyze this crowd versus funding thing. So a lot of people and startups are when they're listening or when they hear the word crowdfunding for the first time. I know that mostly they're concentrated on this funding kind of element of the word, and for startups, it's pretty much started as an alternative funding scheme, as a democratic funding source. As otherwise, startups would have to go to venture capitalists, they would have to go to banks, they would have to, somehow manage to get this money. Sorry, 1 second, let me. So somehow they had to manage to get money for their production, and crowdfunding just came to democratize all this way, and they just allowed startups to meet with their audience, with their customers, with the future buyers, and they have been funding if they think that it's a worthy product. So for startups, it's pretty much funding source. It's a great feedback source, as you're getting a lot of feedback on how to improve the product, what kind of new features to add on, etc. It's a great place for quick PR. So when I'm asked like how you would describe crowdfunding, my favorite way of explaining it is that imagine a successful startup that wants to enter into the global marketplace, and whatever he does in almost 5 years, taking that they're successful, in crowdfunding you can achieve that within 5 months. So it's a very kind of squeezed and very intensive period of time. And also in terms of PR, you're getting a very intensive PR. We're gonna cover this, and you're gonna like found yourself, if you're doing things right, you're gonna find yourself in a lot of credible and top media out there, etc. So that's a great place for word of mouth. People are sharing it all day long. That's a great place for finding new partnerships. Like in a typical crowdfunding campaign, you would receive about 300 to 500 cooperation offers from distributors, from retailers, from wholesalers, from all types of partnerships offers, as pretty much all those people are up to, whoever is up to innovation, they're carefully analyzing what's happening on crowdfunding, and when something pops up, they immediately try to get it, try to be the first to get it into their retail stores, online stores, and that's really an amazing place to get partners. And for startups, this is a great place for confidence, for raising new rounds of money, to go to VCs and say, hey, you see, like we have raised like a couple of millions of dollars, and that's obviously a pretty good credibility for them, which proves that there is a demand for this product, and so they are getting less questions asked. But is crowdfunding only for startups? And if yes, then why these type of big corporations are using crowdfunding? And Epi showed Philips have been using crowdfunding and raising a lot of money. There's this Bose using crowdfunding systematically. There is a Segway 9-Volt using crowdfunding, which is a, I believe is $1 billion company. There's Philips, of course. There's even a Coca-Cola who is using crowdfunding for some of the reasons that we're going to analyze later on. So imagine a Coca-Cola company, like one of the biggest companies in the world in terms of capital assets and valuation. Like I believe they are about 200 to 300 billions of dollars worth, and they're using crowdfunding for introducing their new products. So definitely it's not done for money. Definitely these guys don't need any funding from the backers, but there is something in there which brought Coca-Cola to start a crowdfunding campaign on one of the platforms. Okay, so let's analyze the reasons, and I have like 5-6 reasons which play a big role for big companies, for corporations to go to crowdfunding and start campaigns. First of all, that's a research, right? That's a great place for research, and this is exactly the reason why Coca-Cola, why Philips, why other big brands are using crowdfunding. Because with the crowdfunding, they're getting like very quick research, very quick validation on whether there's a demand or not for their products. This is the $1 million question, right? If they go and start producing their products, and then it turns out that nobody really wants that, they're gonna incur millions of dollars of losses. So crowdfunding is the cheapest and quickest way for them, for those companies, to go research it and basically understand, like, is there a space for serial production, or they have to cut it. And also they're validating the price as well. So it's not only about the general demand, it's also about the price, like whether they are right about the forecasting the right price, or it has to be adjusted, like they need to lower it or maybe increase it. So that's a great place for feedback. I highlighted this comment section because for Philips, I believe one of the main benefits and one of the strongest benefits is the amount of feedbacks and comments they're getting for their products. And remember that these products doesn't exist yet. It's only a prototype. So they're coming to crowdfunding with a prototype, with a functional prototype, but it's not a product. It's just a prototype, and there is a lot of space for adjustments, okay? So, and they basically need this information. This is so valuable for them. Like, they would be definitely ready to spend millions of dollars, maybe not millions of dollars, but hundreds of thousands of dollars on the right research, on getting the right feedback from directly from the customers, directly from people who are into that, right? Who are gonna be their final customers. And in here they have like more than 7,000 comments, and a lot of people. Some people are criticizing the product. Some people are giving some feedbacks on advantages, on disadvantages. There are very smart people out there. You would be amazed on what kind of deep level of questions you're gonna get from ordinary bakers. Sometimes we're super surprised, like understanding, like we might have like very niche kind of product, and then we would see a very smart questions from an industry where there are not that many engineers at all from this industry. And it turns out that even that people are not engineers, it's not their specialization, they are becoming smarter and smarter after all these campaigns. As there are very serial bakers out there who are baking crowdfunding campaigns like for pretty much 5-7 years, and by exploring all this new tech, by being in the beginning of all this new technology, they became very knowledgeable, and their insights are so valuable for these big companies. Okay, that's a great place for loyalty as well. Of course, big companies have big customer base as well, but nevertheless, it's never hurts for companies to get like very loyal backers. And I highlighted this funding curve for you to show what a loyal community can do in crowdfunding, right? So this is a real snapshot of one of the companies which is doing really great in crowdfunding, Peak Design. They had like 10 campaigns, and with every single campaign, they are gaining more and more popularity and more loyalty. So they have their loyal customer base, which is backing their every single campaign, whatever they do, even if it's not that innovative products, right? Like, they love these brands so much that you see that in the first day, in the day one, these guys managed to raise like $2.5 million for one of their products. $2.5 million sales in day one, and in the day two they raised another million. So like $3.5 million of sales in 2 days. That's a number that is interesting for the big companies as well. And even if we exclude the element and the component of funding itself, you see why is happening in here is because those backers are so loyal. They have been following this company. They have been sharing this company. They have been caring, like they are involved in the production process. And this shows how deep the level of loyalty can go. It's not comparable with the typical customers. So companies can have customers, but with crowdfunding, this personal touch is much more apparent, and people are being loyal to not only the brand but to the founders themselves. So this deepens the level of loyalty and allows campaigners to get great amount of funding in the first couple of days. That's a great place for PR as well. Of course, big companies, they have great channels and obviously money to spend on PR. But again, why a great PR is never hurting nobody. Like in crowdfunding, in Kickstarter or on Indiegogo, you're getting an attention from top media outlets, and you can get a coverage from like all the big media sharks like Huffington Post, CNN, Mashable, CNET, etc. So this is also a great way to get like very quick PR and also publicity. That's also a great place for word of mouth. So as I said, people are sharing, and if you have loyal backers, they're sharing it even more intensively. This is a screenshot from one of our campaigns there, where we figured out that our campaign has been shared with one of the influencers, and then reshared for more than 120,000 times. And that was one of the biggest numbers I've seen in terms of post shares. And of course, we got like 12 million views and a great amount of traffic, publicity, etc. So this is something that can also be very beneficial to corporations and companies. And the final benefit, final advantage that I underlined in here is the planning. Even all the big corporations, even how familiar they are with the consumer demand, it's always a big hassle to understand the right amounts of production units, right? So how many units you have to produce in the first batch, in the second batch? Is it 1,000 units? Is it 10,000 or 100,000 or maybe millions? And with crowdfunding, as crowdfunding is a kind of niche space, but it also reflects what is happening in the real world, right? So with this, you are able to generalize the situation and kind of get a big picture to understand what kind of production volumes we're speaking about in here. This gives you a great insights on how to plan it right, on how to negotiate the right prices with the factories, with the producers, with the suppliers, and get the very smart kind of approach to the market, okay? So this is also a great benefit that I heard from many companies, that otherwise they're like, shooting in the air and trying to guesstimate what kind of numbers they're gonna need. But with crowdfunding, things are much more specific and planned. And imagine all those benefits you're getting, and you haven't even started the production yet. That's the best part, right? So you're getting a lot of benefits without even producing a single production unit, only a couple of prototypes, which would validate that, whatever you're doing, you're capable of, which is amazing, I believe. So, and this is the reason why we see this shift currently that is happening in crowdfunding. In the first 5 to 7 years, it was mostly for startups, for funding. But currently, later on in the past years, we noticed this shift, and we noticed many companies with every year trying to go to crowdfunding and use it for the above mentioned benefits. Okay, so there's also a big debates whether it's good or bad. There are both pros and cons. Some people argue that, you know, crowdfunding should be this conservative. It should be only for startups. Some other people are more for, you know, opening it, more for this pivot. Um, it's up to you. You can decide which place you can go, you can take. But anyway, this is happening, and we have to deal with this. Startups have to compete with the big companies, because, you know, Sony might have a crowdfunding campaign, and you might have a crowdfunding campaign, and which could be your first product. So it's also a great benefit to compete with Sony on the same level. Believe me, we have done this, and we're learning a lot from big brands, okay? Because they are dedicating a really big and very experienced marketing teams for their campaigns, and startups also learning from them. So competition is always good. It's not always bad. You don't have to afraid, and you're getting some very equal amount of opportunities to succeed. And if your product is better, if your marketing hacks can work better, you can outperform on all the biggest brands out there, and have been covered in greatest media. Okay, a couple of words, as I promised, about the marketing as well. What we're doing, how we're doing, and what basically hacks and tactics are out there to raise significant amounts of money, whether you're a corporation or startup. So we pretty much are dividing the campaign strategy and activities into two phases: pre-launch phase and post-launch phase. So you notice this funding graph from peak design, and it's pretty much the same for our campaigns as well. In the first day, like, we're getting big amounts of traffic, big amount of funding, and this is the result of preparation of the pre-launch process. It means that we have spent some time on preparation. We spent some time on gathering subscribers, on collecting email subscribers, a couple of tips on how to collect email subscribers and what else you can use them for. So we're building these landing pages where we're putting the, you know, a brief information on the product. And this is a landing page. You don't need to make it a kind of website style. You don't need to have menu. You don't need to have many buttons in there. Just a simple product presentation page with a field where people can embed their emails in there. And then we are also using this process for market and price validation. And here's how. So when people are subscribed, they are shown this second page, this next page, where we're pushing them into reservation funnel, and we're saying that basically you can reserve your product. We can reserve your discount by putting $1 deposit in here, which guarantees you a 50% discount when we launch the campaign. Okay, and they're putting $1, sometimes maybe $5, and then reserving their prices. So what it gives us is that we are carefully checking with our benchmarks to see how many people subscribed based on the traffic, then how many people reserved, what's the relative percentage of people who reserved the price, and if it's significant number, if from that category it exceeds or is not exceeding the benchmarks, with that we're understanding whether there is a demand for the product or not. So this reservation and subscription funnel can also serve as a methodology for you to pretty much validate your market demand and also your price. And then after this, we're increasing 25% and decreasing the price, kind of playing with the pricing to see where it's going, what's happening with the demand. Is it increasing? Is it decreasing? And finding the equilibrium pricing in here as well. So when we have enough subscribers, when they are warmed up, we're sending some 5 to 6 emails prior to launch to those subscribers, and warming them up and making them ready for the launch. And this is exactly the reason why you're getting a big amount of splash in the first day. Okay, so it means that whenever you're starting your campaign, people are already ready. So don't go to crowdfunding unprepared. Don't go and start and pray and see what's going to happen next. If you failed your first day launch, that it pretty much means that you're going to cancel your campaign and start it again, because otherwise there's this green bar effect where you need to get this strong launch in order to get this momentum going on. If the first day is not strong, then hardly you're going to get some other backers in the consecutive days, as nobody wants to be the first. That's the reason. So when you're ready, when you have enough followings and subscribers, you can launch your campaign. And a typical shape you're going to see on Kickstarter or on Indiegogo is going to be this U shape. This is what is the most common thing. And I even screenshotted a quote directly from Kickstarter where they have a term for this. They call it trough, a dead zone, which is in this middle part zone. And they say when the project launches, there's an immediate spike of activity, and then there's a spike in the end, and in the middle it's kind of ending, making the campaign kind of smile at you. Okay, so you have this U-shaped curve. But is it true? We don't think so. As like, for example, our campaigns and some other campaigns as well, when they are benefiting from all the opportunities, they're utilizing all the possible channels, they're gonna have a flat curve, right? And they're gonna flatten the curve, flatten this U-shaped curve by getting traffic constantly, by getting traffic from all possible sources. And like briefly, I'll share you a couple of sources in here, and then if you have specific questions, you can ask later on. Every campaign is very specific, right? There are some sources that works universally for most of the campaigns. But what we are doing with our team is that we're dedicating a team of 15 people, and we're very carefully researching and analyzing all the positioning, all the possible sources for traffic. Where there are these baker communities. We're launching it on Product Hunt. Almost all our campaigns are getting like in the top 5 of Product Hunt. There are subreddits. You can go to some specific Reddits and some other forums, and you can get great publicity and PR in there. Social media, a lot of people are thinking on social media as only about Facebook or sometimes Twitter. Social media is not only about Facebook, and especially it's not only about just posting your product constantly on all day long. You can get like really big if you're utilizing this resource. There are very niche social medias out there. And when you utilize these niche social medias, you can get like great publicity. Okay, PR. A lot of people are relying on organic PR, or sometimes if it doesn't happen, they start to spam to the journalists all day long. This never works. So for the PR to work, you're gonna have to do your homework, do your research. Find only journalists who have written previously articles which are from your category, are about your competitors, and then send out very customized pitches to the journalists. Okay, so this is the basics on how the PR works. Advertising. Advertising is also one of the strongest sources of getting traffic. to your campaign. Again, we're speaking not only Facebook advertising, although Facebook advertising is the cheapest and is the strongest in terms of getting cold traffic. But sometimes what we're doing, we're embedding pixels of other social media in our landing pages, like like we might embed a pixel of Quora or embed a pixel of Snapchat to our landing page. And then we're driving traffic from Facebook because we're going to find the the right audience only in Facebook, right? As they have the best ads manager and targeting. Then we're driving these people to our landing page and then retargeting these people in Snapchat, in Twitter, in Quora, in all other social medias. Okay. And this way we're utilizing it as it's full. And this way we're able to get those people pretty much everywhere. So it's a great tactic that increasing the effectiveness. Influencer marketing, we're partnering with a lot of influencers. Some influencers we're working with have more than 100 million followers overall, right? Very influential pages from both general and niche categories. One hint when working with influencer marketing is that be attentive to the links you're giving them to share, as you're going to get like a huge amount of traffic, but sometimes it's impossible to retain those traffic. So what we're doing, we are giving them redirecting links where we're embedding also the pixels, and this way we're able to retain this big amount of traffic that people are clicking in there. Okay. So sometimes, specifically with the high ticket products, like when you have an e-bike which costs $2,000 or $3,000, we have been marketing a product, the cost of which was almost $4,000. And in these cases, you would need a sales team to work one-on-one with the customers, answer their questions. Not only these type of products, but on all products, we're having this chat with us button, and we have a team who's working with the campaigners. But especially when the price is expensive, this channel is going to be more critical for you. Upsells, there are a lot of strategies on upsells, like on how to do the upsells in the right way. So one hint and one insight in here would be that, for example, if you have many variations of your product or many add-ons, don't start everything at once. Don't put everything at once on the platform, because it's driving attention from the bakers from focusing and getting your main product right. So otherwise you might have like 20 to 30 rewards in there, and nobody's gonna spend so much time getting familiar with all the availability of your add-ons. Instead, start small and start consecutively. So like introduce your main product, then introduce the add-ons one by one. Okay, so you would have like almost 2 months of period with your crowdfunding campaign, and within that period of time you're going to roll out a lot of upsells, but that would sound more easier and understandable to the bakers, as they are already familiar with your main products. And then it's easy to get the next VIP color of it, get some add-ons which makes some more functionality, get some great packaging, maybe get some engraving, etc., etc. And then even after the crowdfunding campaign, you can send out upsells to your bakers and get some good amount of funding in there as well. For one of our campaigns, we raised more than $1 million only in upsells recently. Yeah, and that was it for today. And you need to be always creative and think out of the box. And all the campaigns are very specific. All the strategies are very specific. Like this is what we did with one of our campaigns. I mentioned the fuel bike. and where we noticed that things are not going that well for this e-bike. Instead of lowering the prices, we decided to increase the prices every single day. So we put this notification saying that we're going to increase the prices every single day, and we did so. This term fear of missing out, FOMO, worked really well. And a lot of people who has been hesitating whether to get the bike or not just understood that every day is pretty much the best day to get the bike. And what this gave to the campaigner, and by the way, one of the campaigners was the chief engineer of Harley Davidson. Okay. So what it gave to the campaigner was that it also allowed them to see how higher we could go. Okay, we started the product with $3,000. It was already above the average e-bikes you would see on crowdfunding. But how big we could go? Like, could it go to $3,500? Could it reach to $4,000? This was a big question, and this strategy also allowed us to validate the price and see basically what's the upper limit for the product. So that's it for today, guys. Let's open up a floor for questions and see what kind of questions you have.
This is great. A lot of new stuff that I always, when I hear you, there's a lot of new stuff coming from your side. Clive, do we have any questions from the audience for Narek?
I think they've taken your first words, Epi, and they're still scribbling their notes about it. But I've got a couple that I was putting together as we went through. Hi, Narek. Really good, very informative presentation there. Thank you for that. On one very specific point, where you were talking about the benefits of putting an offer on the landing pages to sign people up early. Was there any particular significance of the product discount being 51% rather than just 50?
Yes, there is a small marketing strategy behind that. So people love specific numbers. Okay, when the more specific you are with the pricing, like the same logic, I believe, goes to this $9.99 pricing, where you would see, right? Or sometimes you would see like a very kind of random numbers in the pricing. So this gives a kind of intuitive credibility to the product that this is the very exact price that this product would get. Okay, it's not rounded. It's not kind of it's not a guesstimate. This is a specific amount, and we have found out that 51, although it's just 1%, more than 50, works significantly better than 50%.
All right, it's enough to stop it sounding a bland offer, that kind of thing. Very interesting, very interesting. Another question that came to my mind, the crowdfunding formula wants to work with projects that are targeting $1 million worth of orders. The Coca-Cola example that you used when they were testing out that Swiss mineral water, their target was just $10,000. So how would that fit with you? How would the crowdfunding formula work with a corporation using crowdfunding for the testing purposes, product research, as opposed to trying to get $1 million?
Yeah, that's a great question, actually. So from that specific example, we could pretty much understand that the funding was not the main purpose of Coca-Cola, right? And they have been just, testing their new products, and obviously it kind of failed. So I think this is exactly most probably, I haven't checked, but the chances are quite high that they stopped the production and didn't went on moving this production line for that specific product. What concerns us is that we have some new methodologies of testing before even moving to crowdfunding currently. So before going there, we would understand that this is not going to work well. If we have been working with Coca-Cola based on the comprehensive research approach that we're currently employing and still testing and improving, we would give them like initial insights for them to know it even beforehand that, you know, this is not going to end well. And are you sure you want to, you know, put your brand with this kind of campaign if it's really not, the chances are not high, right?
I can imagine Coca-Cola having some concerns about this. I remember there was a time in the UK they filtered tap water and bottled that and tried selling it at a very high markup, and it was all going fine until they got rumbled. But yeah. Another question then. Are you able to mention any large corporations that you might have talked with about using crowdfunding and they decided not to go ahead?
Cooperation, you mean our cooperation with the companies?
Yes.
It's mostly long term, to be honest. So we have kind of serial manufacturers with whom we are working with, and they have a lot of ideas and they're constantly testing their new products. So it's always going ahead. Like they might have like 5 types of products, and we might figure out that 4 are not suitable for the mass market production, and they might do some changes, some tweaks for the products, and then get back again. Or in the worst scenario, we might reject both these, you know, 5 products, and it's not kind of a pure rejection. We're providing also feedbacks, and they are getting back and trying to improve the products. So it's a continuous process. Like we have campaigners currently with whom we've started to work already more than a year. We have campaigners with whom we're working with a couple of years, and I believe with many years to come. And this became a great source and great process for them for the product launch. Okay, to test it, get feedbacks, understand, evaluate what the chances are, and then move ahead with the serial production.
When sorry, sorry, Epi, go ahead.
Go ahead, Clive.
I was going to ask when the big corporations, any of the big corporations get in touch with you, what tends to be the job role or the job title of the person who makes contact? Is it like a product manager or a marketing person? Or does
differently, it depends on their corporate structures. Sometimes corporations assign a specific team on specific products, like they have a dedicated team who would work on this product line. It might be a small team. It might operate as a kind of small startup within a corporation, right? So in these cases, it would be a project manager. Sometimes sometimes it might go to marketing department of the overall company, and we might work with the marketing team. So depending on the corporation size and strategies, it can be project managers or the marketing team mostly.
All right, thanks. Now my ad-libbing has gone on long enough. We've got a few questions now from our panelists, so thank you for those. And there's one here which is talking about using circular economy principles. Now, when a corporate wants to test new materials and upcycle or recycle and test the response when they use these other materials, should they abandon it if they don't get any sales or orders, or?
Pretty much yes. If they did it in the right way, if they managed to get their exact kind of sample of audience that later on was going to buy these type of products, and they see that those products are rejecting pretty much the materials or are not kind of interacting well with that, then it's a clear market signal, and they just have to deal with that and do the adjustments.
No, I see that. If you're doing a test, then follow what the test results show. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so Narek, you created these eight key steps with in terms of the testing out before even thinking to go in terms of the creating a campaign. And you walk us a little bit through in terms of the what each of these platforms does for these products, so they can go and test it out. Um, how accurate that is? Like, what's the accuracy rate for that?
Yeah, that's a good question, and the accuracy is getting better with every testing, right? So it's a data-driven method and data-driven platform. We're even building a separate platform for that. We're gonna call it Jungle Proof, and we're gonna make it available for everybody pretty much. So currently, it's only us who are using this methodology. And as we have many campaigns and many applications, like every single day we get up to 10 applications probably, and all these products are passing through this testing method, right? The more we get into this, the more I understand that we don't understand like a lot of stuff, and you can never kind of forecast and never guess how this specific product is gonna perform. Uh, there are some qualitative factors. There is an experience out there, but the data outperforms it all. And the more data you have, the better and more accurate you're gonna be. We have been having very interesting success cases recently, and I'm sure I didn't have them in my presentation, but probably next time I'm gonna have this interactive method where I'm gonna ask you like which product you think raised most amount of money. I previously did in one of my webinars, and 99% were wrong on guessing like out of 3 products which raised the most. Because the reason behind that is very simple, as they are not the buyers, right? You are not the buyers, but there's a specific group of people who might see a lot of value in the product and might get it. And to understand that traffic, understand where the conversions are coming from, then adjust, make. So we have various filters and various kind of data points on which we're analyzing it. And also we're analyzing it like for other factors, like how many people opened the email, how many people clicked to these links, how many people provided the survey. And all this data show us how engaged are people pretty much on this specific product. And if you make it relative to some other products, then you are able to understand, is it doing better or worse, right? And if you know that one campaign like raised $1 million and their benchmark was this, then it can pretty much serve as a benchmark, and you can compare all the other upcoming data with that.
Yeah, you saw great insights. I mean, we're talking about this. It's hundreds and thousands of dollars worth of the market research, and this kind of data in real time, instead of like working. I do remember I have a marketing advertising background, and I remember back in the days we used to do these focus groups, and I don't even know who does the focus groups, and if they do it, this is a completely wrong way, because this is one of the best focus groups that you can have.
Absolutely.
In real time, and you don't have to waste time for if you have a wrong product, right?
Absolutely, they never work. This focus group, they never work. Like you might get good insights if you ask good questions, but sometimes people are gathering a focus group and asking, would you buy this product? A lot of people say, of course, this is a great product, we're going to buy this, etc. Then they going ahead and rolling out this product, and nobody goes and buys this. And to get the real understanding, the real insight on how the person would perform, you would only know if he pulls out his credit card and writes down the number and makes the reservation. And this already gives you an insight on, okay, this person was ready. Okay, it's not only by saying he's putting his money where his mouth goes, and with this way you're understanding like okay, now how the market will perform if I market this not to 5,000 but to 5 million people.
Yeah. We have to say like voting with the wallet, right? And so in this case, the confidence is where likes doesn't save lives. The community behind it, and of course, like you mentioned, the focus groups, even polls. The reason why they don't work is because you have this group of people who have a list, and they just go and they call the same people, and they ask them different type of questions with different type of products, and they have no vested interest on a product itself, and that itself, from the beginning, from the start, is just sets you for the real failure. Where in here, it sets you for that success, and the success is also like if you thought that you have a great product and you're testing it out, and it's not working, like Coca-Cola in this case, that's a success. They did not waste the time. They did not put millions of dollars into the production and distribution and marketing and everything else. So this is why we truly believe that this is what the future will be like in terms of product innovation, where there's a customer behind this production of the innovation of the product. So great ways to.
An issue with focus groups is that they can also rely on all the people in them to have the imagination to be able to understand what the best points about the innovative new product are. They say that if Henry Ford had run focus groups, people would have wanted stronger horses and better hay. But
there is this book I always recommend people to read. That it's called Mom's Test. This will allow people to ask smart questions. And basically, why it's called Mom's Test is that when you have a new idea, you always go to your mom and say, "Oh, I have this cool product. Should I produce it or not? And she says, "Oh, sure, you go ahead and start producing it." And because she loves you and not the product, okay? And you go and fail. And how to avoid this bias, this fallacy, is that you need to ask questions not about future, but about their past behavior, okay? And you need to ask about facts, not about what they would do. Nobody knows what they would do in the future, okay? But you can get some good insights on whether you purchased similar product before, or even whether you Googled a solution for this type of problem, okay? What you did you research, did you find out something, etc.? So only facts will give you insights, and never ask anything about what would you or what will you do if you see this product. It never gives you correct information.
Right. If I can go back to a question from our audience today, and Narek, across your years of looking at the different successful projects, have you established a rule of thumb of a marketing budget to achieve certain pre-order levels? Is there a regular kind of percentage figure that you can apply?
Yeah, there are some figures which can give you some direction on what the numbers should look like. So typically it goes from 10 to 15% from the raised amount. So say you're raising $1 million. In order to raise $1 million, you need to spend at least like $150,000 on the marketing. Okay, it would include advertising, video production, all kind of PR processes, etc. This is a brief estimation, which sometimes can go up to $200,000, can decrease to $100,000, but this is the range. Okay, so from 10 to 20% of the raised amount, you need to be ready to spend for the marketing.
That's very useful. Very useful. Have you had that successful target of $1 million using any other platforms apart from Kickstarter and Indiegogo?
Not really, to be honest. There are thousands of, I think 1,500 platforms out there who do the same, who has the same functionality and are much better platforms in terms of flexibility. But we're not using them as they don't have this organic traffic. And Kickstarter and Indiegogo are the main platforms who have most of the traffic. Okay, so although we ourselves are bringing most of the conversions and most of the traffic to the platforms, like almost 80%, this 20% is still significant number. And with other platforms, we would lose that. So we're getting some 20% amount of traffic from Kickstarter and same for Indiegogo. And this is why we continue use only them.
Yeah. Have at the crowdfunding formula, have you ever considered working with people who want to run equity crowdfunding projects?
We're thinking about that, but not yet. We're not entering into that domain yet. But this is still emerging. I think it's still developing, the equity crowdfunding. We're carefully following on what's happening out there. Probably in the future, we're going to get there as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, or we leave it this?
Epi, it's a question you'd be able to answer. A couple of people were asking if a recording of this event's going to be available for them later.
Yes, of course. So we'll have the recording in the coming weeks, so that will be available. You'll be able to get it. Also, I see a question here about the steps on that ebook. Yeah, there are certain steps there that you can follow through it. So we put that together with the help of the NARIX team. And so, yeah, just go ahead and download this. And if you have any questions, do let us know. We're happy to connect you with NARIC and his team. Any of the networking that you guys would like to be and do here, please stick around for another 5 minutes here. Also, just for FYI, next week, in 2 weeks from now, the same time on Thursday, April 15th, we will be having another crowd session, and this will be around crowdsourcing for innovation and prize challenges for sustainability as part of our crowd sessions. NARIC, thank you very much for your time and your great insights. I can see your people are saying thank you. This is a great presentation. We will send you the survey right after this. I'd love to hear from your feedback more and give us any thumbs up on this. And certainly we will follow up and have another one of these sessions in coming months, and we'll go even deeper and we'll see some of the things. And maybe what we'll do, we'll bring some of these guys from a corporation, so either from a Lego, from a Philips, or from Amazon. So I'll reach out to them and try to bring them on board here to have a more discussion about how are they doing it, and is there any what are the struggles. So NARIC, thank you all for participating and being part of this. You can still hang around for another 5 minutes for networking here, and hope to see you in 2 weeks from now. And have a great evening, a great day over there. Thank you.
Thanks, NARIC.
Thanks, guys. It was a pleasure. Have a good day. Bye-bye.